What the hell is going on? Happy Monday night, y'all. Good evening, you beautiful cucumbers in CCTV land. Welcome to TCB Studios and welcome to Burn It Down. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. I want to give a shout out to my partner in rhyme, Renee Yaworski. Last week was a slice of heaven. I absolutely loved it. One of my favorite episodes ever. Welcome to the Positivity Room. That's what it's all about these days. Lifting each other up, never building each other down. Last week was such a fantastic episode. We had a lot of viewers, but most importantly, we had a lot of beautiful people interacting with us, commenting, sending me notes later on with suggestions regarding continuing to build each other up in this positive space, in the positivity room, PMA sessions, I Choose Awesome sessions. Renee Yaworski, I love it, love it, love it. And I hope to see you around 9:15 in the middle of this interview / conversation. Jeffrey Butzer and Claire Lodge have a new record coming out. It's wonderful. Listen to a few songs off of it today. I know Jeffrey about an hour ago was having dinner with the Pixies. I'm jealous. One of my favorite bands since I was a little kid. And Claire Lodge, I believe we were having trouble getting online with her because she's at the beach. But you know what they say in TV land, especially CCTV land, is the show must go on. So Jeffrey might have flan in front of his plate. He might be just finishing eating. He might be in his car. Who knows where he'll be? But it's live television. This is what we do at Burn It Down. We're going to talk about what's going on, what's going up, what's going down, and continue to encourage each other. So this is where I do my drum roll and go. Boom, boom, boom. Bucket of fish, bucket of fish, bucket of fish. What?
Hey.
What the heck? 20 minutes ago, you were hanging out with the Pixies saying, where is my mind and where is my flan? You were like, where is my flan? Where is my flan? And I was like, the Pixies eat flan?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, man, I got to have dinner with a Pixie.
I grew up in a Spanish household, man. I grew up eating flan. I know Joey Santiago eats flan. How are you doing? So we tried to get Claire on.
Yeah,
she's at the beach. She's at the beach and coming in and out. If we're lucky, we'll get her on to say hi for 5 minutes. I've met her a couple of times. You and her have become very close. She's certainly developed this like enigma-like this musical icon status the past year, and I could not be happier for her. I absolutely love her. She's become like the superhero / Kaiser Sose. Like she just comes in and out of the night.
Well, yeah, I think she kind of hates doing interviews, but she was like excited to talk to you.
Right, I know. When we talked earlier, she basically was chatting with me like this. And then at one point I said, listen, you're beautiful, you're awesome, but people just want to hear you talk. And she's like, I might come on later on with a couple of loaves of bread tied to my head.
Yeah. Yeah, she's blowing up. She Dwayne Dennison sent her a message the other day. I saw. She showed me.
Yeah,
said like the guitar player.
Guitar player of the Jesus Lizard, one of the baddest musicians on the planet. Yeah, he's in Nashville. He's in Nashville. I've met him a few times as well. Super nice guy. And for as much as he shreds on stage, it's unbelievable because I get under lights on stage and within 5 minutes, I'm soaking wet. I don't know about you, but that man, as much as he shreds on stage, he gets off stage and there's zero sweat on him. It's absolutely
he does not perspire. Yeah, I've seen him several times.
He does not perspire. We call him like Dwayne Antiperspirant Dennison.
Yeah, he was playing with my friend's band, the legendary Shack Shakers, for a while. That's how I met him. I've met him a few times. He seems pleasant.
That's right. So you met him probably through our friend that we have in common, Rod Hamdallah, who I think took guitar lessons from him at one point.
Rod replaced him in Legendary Shack Shakers.
Yeah. And I went to see Rod play the other night, and he literally just gets better and better and better as a musician. And he really is like in this wonderful place where it's blues, equally garage, equally punk, equally soul, and he just is very. And this is a word you don't use much about musicians because sometimes they're over the top. He's actually very tasteful.
Have you had him on your show?
You want to know something? I'm thinking about that now. I don't think I've had him on Burn It Down. We've had him a couple of times do something with 3 on the 1s and 2s.
Oh, yeah.
I need to have him on because he's one of the sweetest humans, and he only is getting better and better, and he's so young. He still has so much of a future ahead of him. I really think he's got a wonderful musical career ahead of him as well. And not to mention the band he has now, his backing band is straight fire. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I feel like I see them more than I see anybody because we play a lot together, and then like every time I go out and
because you never come see me. I was going to get into that.
I saw Westin Motel almost every time. I just haven't seen TCB, but
I mean, you played in Westin Motel. You played on some of the records.
But I came to see you guys at Boggs. I came to see you at Starbar a couple times. I'm
totally kidding. Listen, you know what's funny? Because when I do play shows and an old friend will reach out to me and say, hey, Tom, I know there's going to be a lot of people there and I really won't be able to see you or talk to you. I'll say, I'd rather you come 2 hours early for sound check and we have a pint or a cup of coffee backstage and catch up for 30 minutes and then you leave. No, I understand. No worries at all. And that's a perfect sign of an old musician getting older. Like, I'm like, yeah man, that's great. Don't worry. I'm cool if you miss the show. I'd rather just say hi and hug you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd rather just eat with my friends. And if you want to watch.
Me too. Speaking of eating with your friends, you just ate with the Pixies. Nice job. How was that? So they're in town playing tomorrow.
Yeah, well, let's promote their show. They're playing Truist Park, Coca-Cola Roxy tomorrow night with Franz Ferdinand and Bully. It's my kids' first real concert because they're 11 and 13, and they haven't been to like a big concert. Like they've only seen like my bands and stuff. And so we're all going tomorrow. My youngest son Felix actually made a set list for me to give to David, and I gave it to him. He looked over and he said, "Not playing that, probably play that." So
he's like, tell your son to piss off. We're not playing that stuff.
He said, we've made records since Bossa Nova, right? Because everything on there is old.
Right. Well, again, because you're teaching your son to be an elitist snob musician and only like the band's first 2 albums.
Oh, what's funny is like I tried to play Felix like Indie Cindy and one of the newer ones. I like all their records. And he was like, none of my influence. He was like, I don't like this. I just like the first few.
Yeah, Trump Le Monde was beautiful, and Surfer Rosa was really beautiful. And I mean, I listen to Bossa Nova as well. But Brian Kinchlow made this really wonderful observation. And it's not for everyone, but it's probably people like in my age group. And he's like, and it's so funny because they don't sound weird at all now. And they have such wonderful pop sensibilities to the band, the Pixies. Mm-hmm. And also, I will say Frank Black is one of my favorite screamers. Like perfect screaming voice, But Brian Kinchlow said, well, they were like the first weird band to him that he got to see. And I love that. So I think, Brian's a little bit younger than me. I was very much a new waver, listened to other things in the 80s, but I think the late 80s, early 90s, B-Kids heard them was like, wait a minute, perfect pop sensibilities, smart lyrics, great screaming, but also perfectly a little bit weird. And he's absolutely right. And Pixies, what a great band. And then when you hear a band like the biggest band of our lives, Nirvana, completely wanted to be the Pixies.
Yeah. They've been one of my favorite bands for a really long time, and I'm excited to see them. And it's going to be special because it's one of the 3 bands me and my kids all like. We all like Black Sabbath, Pixies, and Wu-Tang Clan. Other than that, our tastes are all individual. My kids don't like what I like. Like if I play them things I think are cool, even stuff I think they'll like.
Listen, I'll go with you and your kids to see the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, let's go to Nashville in September. That's why we're gonna try to
I'll be out of the
do.
country. Sorry about that.
That's the next
I'm
time they're
I'm
playing near us.
I'm about to be embarking on some big things that I'll be announcing very soon. That's what I've been doing all day. We've been very busy at TCB Studios, kind of locking some things up and sending out some finish up the last of our I Choose Awesome hats. We did an exercise class. We did yoga. We did some dancing. We walked around the block 100 times. Did a couple of push-ups. Hanging out with Renee Jaworski. Still high off of last week because we're going to start really trying to encourage talking to our viewers and getting involved in what we call the PMA sessions, which is a very punk term, positive mental attitude, and just building each other up. And I know you could be a negative Nancy, so I need you to be really positive when you're on here today.
Yeah, I'm in a good mood. I feel pretty good.
Well, so let's get into this real quick because I see that. Claire was trying to get on a minute ago.
Okay.
And from the little bit of I know her, if she's having some technical issues, excuse me, and she is at the beach, she probably is walking right now down the beach with her feet in the water and laughing at us, which that's fine too.
I know she wanted to do this.
Yeah,
I know that.
I know that she's reached out to me to maybe do some stuff with her, like maybe even a duet sometime, and I'd be honored. And you and I are so overdue, even though we've done stuff on each other's records.
Yeah.
But let's get to the subject at hand before I start rapping like the Wu-Tang Clan.
Right.
This record, I listened to a few songs. I love the artwork. I love actually the title seems like a reference to the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
What do you think?
The band name or because the album is called Blurry Eyes.
The band name, yes.
So the band name is the Academy of Staring Daggers.
Exactly. That's very Wu-Tang Clanish, yes.
Yeah, I felt like it sounded like a good trip hop name. We came up with it a couple years ago. I wrote a book of like comedy stuff, and I interviewed Claire, and I did a biography of her that's very embellished. And when I was interviewing her, like when we were going back and forth, she said, "You should say that I went to a college called the Emily Post Academy of Staring Daggers," and that really cracked me up. And so when we went to name the band, I was like, so the background on this album is her and I, and like me and you, my friend Lionel in France. Whenever we record, you send me usually completed stuff, just to let me hear it. But a lot of our friends, like who collaborate, like I'll record a little piece of something, and I'll be like, "Hey, check this out. What do you think? You want to do some of this?" And so she sent me this 29-minute guitar thing, and it was chaotic and just nuts, and it was cool. But I was like, "Yeah, that's cool. I don't know what I would do on it." And so I put a sample of Garth Brooks talking on it and a beat underneath it as like a joke, and I sent that back to her, and she's like, "Let's do it. Let's put samples and stuff and beats. Let's do that."
I absolutely love it. I love it.
Yeah, and so
yeah.
Oh, so we just went back and forth, and she'd send me a guitar part, or I'd send a beat with a sample, and then it was all done email. We didn't send the room on this one, and then we got Anna Balka on it to do some violin, and then
huge fan of Anna Balka. Shout out Anna Balka, wonderful human, wonderful woman, wonderful artist, wonderful violin player, wonderful singer, just a badass.
Yeah. So I asked a couple people to do some parts, but we especially wanted Anna to like be a lot on it. So she's on several tracks, and then the record sounded pretty good to me, and I think Claire was pretty happy with it. But there was no bass on it, and we were waiting on Matt, and then we sent it all to Matt, and he kind of mixed it and helped me edit like which songs weren't great because it was long. We had like over 2 hours of music, and then once he put the bass on it, I was like, "Oh, this is a good album. I like it."
Right.
And, so that was how that came about. A lot of emails.
This is what I love about you, Boots. And I could have said this the first time when I met you, which is now how many years ago, outside a residence show, and you gave me your record, She Traded Her Leg, which I just recently revisited, and I absolutely still adore. But so I myself have my set of heroes, and none of them are straight down the middle. They're all a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right. So just to name a few, there'd be Harmony Korine, Charlie Chaplin might be in my top two heroes. I'll say even Buster Keaton, the trip hop artist Tricky,
Yeah.
And then you have these bands that came out of England in the 90s that I think they were doing a lot of chemicals, if you know what I'm saying, and getting wild with these loops and stuff like Massive Attack, even Portishead. I love Bjork. And then it goes to again Tom Waits, and then more comedy, Bozo the Clown, and then on that list I could say now Jeffrey Butzer.
Oh man.
And so you're standing not only on the shoulders of giants, but now you're hanging with them, and PJ Harvey as well. Oh my goodness, and so when I see you do these collaborations, I'm super stoked, but every time I 1000% get it. I was lucky enough to go with my friend Greg Armstrong. Shout out Greg, the other night to see Mark Rebo, right? Who was one of my favorite guitar players ever. And and to name a few, he's worked with Tom Waits, Elvis Costello, John Zorn, but even some of the stuff he's done on his own are amazing. And I got a chance to chat with you there. And then Claire sent me a note. I guess she was at the show and took a few pictures and then got out of there. But it was lovely because during this intermission, at one point, we're hanging out with Will Lawless, who's, I think it's his birthday today, from the Idra. Happy birthday, Will. Bill Taft, Blake Rainey, again, Greg Armstrong, my friend Eric Herndon from Virginia, Frederick Denny, yourself. And I'm like, oh my goodness, look at all these awesome nerd music fanatics like talking about this stuff. And this is why I do this show, but also now just to encourage and make people happy. And we dive into these weird things. And that's where the people that I mentioned, that's where it seems like you were going, where you were flirting with you and Claire on this record. Because at some points, I got to play it and I'm in the shower, and we all know we write great songs and we sound awesome in the shower. I'm rapping over it.
Yeah.
Like, I may want to do a remix, and say I'm on your garage like a ninja and just start rapping over this record.
Yeah, man. Hip hop's been a big part of my life, and I don't rap, but I love trip hop. I love, and
oh my goodness, and real quick, and Chuck D and Wu-Tang Clan. I cannot believe I didn't mention those people.
Yeah, I think sometimes people don't take me seriously about my love of the Wu-Tang Clan, but for me, they're right up there. It's like Pixies, Leonard Cohen, PJ Harvey, Terry Parch, these like Ennio Morricone, Wu-Tang. They're all in that top 10 for me. Like Wu-Tang, RZA's early beats were a huge influence on how I produced my parts of this album, the beats I did, and we used the same stuff for the beats on this one, like the same setup. We just didn't.
Right.
She would come over, and I don't think we ever recorded at the same time, is what I meant, because she'd be over, she'd work on something, I'd come in and finish her, or she'd do stuff from home and email it to me, because she was in Atlanta. I think she's in Virginia Beach right now, and then she's going to London. But yeah,
she's what we like to call in this strange little music world of the section of things that we do is she's a nomad by fate.
She's always going somewhere, and she will spend the whole summer back in England. But she's not gonna be at the release show, and I think everybody's disappointed. She's not gonna be there because it's just gonna be me and my boys. The bicycle.
Well, I'm disappointed that I'm not gonna be there, but we're still gonna push it. Maybe we'll set up a screen and I'll scream and read something from where I'm gonna be.
Yeah, Bill Taft. You mentioned him. They're opening up, playing with us, co-headlining. I like to say.
They are my favorite group. Honestly, shout out Brian Holleran, Wilfred Teasy, and then the other beautiful people play with them, Bill Taft. But I like to mention this because, like myself and Mike Chino were at the Earl Saturday night to see Rod Hemdallah, who killed it, and Magna Pop, Atlanta Legends, and then Anna Kramer's record release show. It was a beautiful stacked bill. But I was chatting with Mike, and we're out by the sound booth in the back at the Earl, and I go, I moved here from New York, you moved here from Boston, and we started doing this thing called Rent Boys, and Brian Holleran was doing sound, and he was a wonderful soundman, but also just a wonderful person. And he and Bill were both just very kind and generous with their time, and they would say, well, this is good, this is awesome, don't be afraid to get more weird, get out there. And I certainly followed their advice, or I'm still following their advice, and just the best.
I don't think Bill's ever said no to me. I hit him
It's
up
just the
all the
best.
time. I'll be like, "Hey, do you want to sing like 4 Towns Van Zandt songs in the basement of the Earl or the basement of the Star Bar with me?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll be there." I'm like, "Hey, you want to play
Yeah.
a record release show?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll be there." He's the
So
best.
when is the record out officially? This Friday?
So this Friday, the Bandcamp release, and then
Yeah.
the following week it'll be on iTunes and Spotify and YouTube and everywhere. So there's a lot of this isn't like a capitalist move with the merch. I just wanted to have some cool stuff with it. So I'm a collage artist, which I do a lot of the album art for
Yeah.
stuff, singles. And so you're there's a 200 page Western Pines Press is putting out a 230 page book of my collage art that comes with the
Yeah.
album. We have limited vinyl, and then we got CD and downloads. But yeah, it's all the 23rd, and then next week it'll be. On the 23rd, and then next week anyone can get it anywhere. Yeah, I'm
So
excited. Blurry
I'll be
eyes.
sharing this. Yeah, I'll be sharing this in CCTV land. I got to bring on my partner and just say a little bucket of fish and bring Renee out here and go whoop whoop whoop. Say hello to Jeffrey. Hello there.
Hello. I'm so inspired by the Wu-Tang stuff and talking about like hip hop and all that
Right.
because I always was obsessed with Wu-Tang, and I even got into like Tupac Shakur. I got really into Tupac. And I always feel so weird like talking about it, because I'm not from that demographic. And so I feel like sometimes it seems like I think people sometimes feel like I'm being sarcastic or something, and I'm just not. It's like really solid music. And with Wu-Tang especially, Shaheem, I don't know if y'all remember Shaheem, but he was the 14-year-old who came up and he like Wu-Tang took him under their wing. He had at age 14, he had some of the best like stuff out there, and he's backed by Wu-Tang. I highly recommend. He had 2 records that were pretty good. Shit Is Real, I think, was like the main thing, but
I love it.
Such great.
Well, I'm a big
stuff.
fan of everything that's affiliated with it. So thank you. And look at me and Butzer right now. Our mouths are wide open. We're like, what? Because I know like Killer Bee stuff. My sister did some stuff for the Killer Bees, and she was like, "Do you know them?" I go, "Yes, I know them." But how come you're hanging out with them and I'm not? I love that. So I'm always glad to bring Renee on, and Renee's schooling me in the boots. What do you know about that?
Shaheem, yes, the Rugged Child. That's the first one is called Rugged Child, and then I don't know if the second one is Shit Is Real.
I'll be blasting it. I'll be blasting after we get off tonight. Renee, so I kind of was saying to you backstage, but I'm still so high off last week. I'm still getting messages, positive, beautiful messages and suggestions from our show last week.
Yeah, that was really special to me. And so I'm putting you all over the TikTok. So you'll be TikTok famous, Tom. You're all over the TikTok.
Good. Yes, it's one of my life goals. Thank you so
You
much.
used to be TikTok
I'm excited to say that next week, Renee and I are going on a double date with CJ Peters, and Pan Oria. What? Nice. That's me a positive party. The world, the computers just might explode.
It is. I want to know, but I want to know why you and Boots go way back. You guys know each other really well. Yeah. Why did you call him a negative Nancy? How positive is Jeffrey?
Oh no, I was totally kidding. See, I love it. I was totally. Well, see, the thing about Butts is because he really is genius. And did you hear the people I put him in company with, who I compared him to? And I genuinely feel that way. He's part. He's part Chaplin and part Tracy Chapman. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I love it. and equally Tracy Chapstick.
And part chaplain, like an army chaplain.
That's right. Yes. So no, he's so wonderful and so funny. And I mean, and like I tell you, we've gotten to this a few times before, but Butch's story alone, like, I mean, I just one day would love to do is just document you on that. Like you growing up with your pops, and then your mom being a piano teacher, covering Slayer, and you playing drums. That alone is an episode,
Yeah.
No, you're so funny, but you equally can be, and I'm totally lightly saying this. We both equally can sound like old curmudgeons once in a while.
No, I am. Well, it's because we value art so much and we love it.
Yeah.
And sometimes the world gets to you, and then sometimes you as much as you love something, you viscerally hate something. And I don't do it publicly, but I'll tell you about how much I hate something. And
Right. No, but also we equally say much we love something, because I remember when we were on that AM radio station in the mid
yeah,
2000s, which was wonderful. And this guy Neil Cohen, beautiful dude. I think he lives in Tennessee now, and he was fantastic. And well, his name was Neil Cohen, so he had a very much like almost like a Judd Hirsch type voice, let's just say. And he's like, so tell me, like that. He's like, why are you always talking about Wu-Tang Clan? And why are you always saying things are Chinese? And why are you always talking about Chinese people? And I was just like, because they're both awesome. I was like,
which
I'm about to order Chinese food right now and listen to the Wu-Tang Clan. As a matter of fact, today, while I was working in TCB Studios, packing up some boxes and kind of closing out this part of the year, because I'm about to do some other big things that we'll be making announcements very soon. I was listening to famous Chinese philosophers, and let's just say, well, we all know Confucius, but the rest of them, every single one of them were these simple things, Renee and Jeffrey, that I know we know, but we forget. And it's like thoughts are just things, but if you let that thought become a thing, then it's going to affect your character, and that's going to affect your whole name the rest of your life. And it's like, yeah, don't let that little thought become this big thing.
Yeah. And also, oh no, I forgot what I was gonna say. Crap, you better say something, Tom.
Well, the thing is,
I was hanging on his every word. I was like, what is he gonna say?
Butch is going to say something very worldly and proverbial.
Well, I'm just going to eat my fortune cookie I got. It wasn't as good as yours, so I decided to put it back up.
Well,
I got a fortune.
What is that lyric about walking through fire with my gasoline boots?
It's something like I strap on my gasoline boots and I walk through hell, I think. It's
yes.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful lyric.
Yeah, I think my favorite Wu-Tang line is not even a Wu-Tang member. Redman on the W says in a room. It's Method Man. He says in a room full of crackers, I might cut the cheese. That's one of the best Method Man lines ever.
Well, Method Man, to be honest with you, in all fairness, because I've gotten this conversation with our sister Claire, who should be on here, who's probably swimming in the ocean right now, is someone was talking about who the best rapper and MC is in Wu-Tang, and there's controversy. I was like, well, he's an amazing producer, but Riz is probably the worst rapper. And then I was like, and then I'm like, what am I talking about? They're all amazing, and I don't want to get any fights with anybody because everyone's passionate. But the thing is, so my point was, I was like, well, Method Man is kind of not fair because I don't know if he's the best rapper, but he hands down the coolest voice. And I would pay $40 a year to have him just read out of the yellow pages for me to go to sleep at night.
He definitely.
I'd say Raekwon the Chef and Jizza might be my favorite, like, of the lyricists and like, dope MCs, but the thing is also they're like superheroes who came out of a comic book to save from like the underground, and we talk about that too because that's what Burn It Down is about. I believe that's what Renee wanted CCTV Land to be about. It's we represent the underdog, and they came out 9 dudes to represent the underdog. Yeah, that's right.
Well, you're wrong though. Inspector Deck is the best. No, Inspector Deck's my favorite. But I
love it. And by the way, I'm totally cool with being wrong.
I think he's the best. I think he's the best rapper that ever lived. And Method Man has said he's the best rapper that ever lived. But what I love about them is just that just the chaos of them on stage. And how much they. You and I went
to go see them play about 12 years ago, and this is not an exaggeration. There might have been 40 people on stage, and some of them were grandmothers, and some of them were like 2-year-old kids. And I honestly was like, once this show's over and each of them get paid, they're gonna like pay the grandmothers. No one's gonna leave.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
No, I love their energy. I love everything about them. I like the 9 different personalities. My kids will always try to see if they can pick a worst one, and there's not a worst one. For a minute, we were like, I don't know, Master Killer, but then we would name like 20 verses that are better than. Anything Kanye.
The thing about it in life is, so when you get a guy, an artist who is, let's say the word, when someone is very, someone's very like an artist like Prince, they're still finding stuff that he did, or an artist like Tupac after he's gone, you find all this stuff, or who else, when someone has put out that much material,
yeah.
Well, obviously, there's the great material, and then you're going to find stuff that Yeah, it's like, oh, this is good. This is not. You know what I mean? So it's this weird thing. So you're almost better off when you're an Inspector Deck. You're like, yeah, he's got 4 lines, but those lines slay dragons.
Yeah.
Well, You God is only on two verses. I think he has 2 verses on the first album because he was in prison. But I mean that Raw gonna give it to you straight from Bolivia. Raw with no trivia, straight like cocaine straight from Bolivia. That's like one of the best verses on the record. And so like You God is like, oh man, I saw You God one night. I was at RZA, watching RZA at the Loft, and he came walking by, and I went up to the promoter, and I was like, holy cow, is that You God? What's he doing here? He's like, oh, he might get up, but he's mad because nobody's here, so he might not go up. And he almost didn't go up, and then like some people showed up, and he finally went up. But
That's
yeah.
amazing. Well, I think there's Wu-Tang elements on this new record. That
Sure.
I absolutely love it. Please share a couple of songs afterwards with my partner here, Renee Jaworski. And then on Friday, what I'll do is share it on CCTV Land. And then the following Friday, I'm going to share it.
Cool.
I love it that you're basically like Chris Elliott, the guy under the stairs on the David Letterman show, and you're just a regular on Burn It Down now.
Yeah, that's right. I'm the guy under the stairs. Man, Chris Elliott's a hero. You know that band Handsome Boy Modeling School that relates that? They're named after his show Get a Life. Like in the first 5 or 6 episodes, there's an episode of Get a Life called Handsome Boy Modeling School where Chris becomes a model, and it's ridiculous. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen on television.
He's so funny.
That show was incredible. Like nothing.
So fun. I love him in scary. I love him in the scary movies. I love him and just oh my goodness, something about Mary. I mean, he is just so funny.
Charlie Kaufman was a writer on that show, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Me and my son started watching again recently, and it's really funny. But I think the Handsome Boy Modeling School, we're gonna do like a little more serious, like dark trip hop, and then they decided like they found some humor in that episode, and then they decided to make their music a little more lighthearted. So I thought that was cool.
Right. It seems like some of the stuff they did, and it's all wonderful, but it's not like maybe my thing, but it kind of then went towards like that Chromeo thing or something, and it's like it's good, but it's just not my thing.
Yeah. I like that first record they did. I thought it was cool. But yeah, Chris Elliott, man, it's funny you mentioned him. I mean, he's like, I try to stick by most bald guys, like I don't care who they are. Just,
yes. Larry David, Chris Elliott. I mean, you mentioned Charlie Kaufman. Oh my goodness. Talk about another enigma. Claire Lodge is like PJ Harvey and Charlie Kaufman had a baby. She's amazing.
I'd say, yeah. She's an interesting person. She's a good guitar player. She's kind of like, I wish she would like socialize, because she like a Mark Ribot. I know you wanted to see her. I know Patrick wanted to see her. She just like popped in, watched the set, took off. I didn't even know she was there until she texted me. But
I get it, and that's what we're trying to do on this show. Like I said, I'm still. Last week, Renee was a slice of heaven. It was so awesome, and still high off that. And I kind of feel like we have. If you have a little bit of a voice, and people are watching, which I love doing the show with you, Renee. And it's like, if people are digging it, and we have this voice, and we can move into another direction. Not that we were ever negative before, but man, we are going to start killing people with our kindness.
Well,
I'm so all about burn it down and positive sessions and positive. I mean, we have written down somewhere here. Get me to the positivity room, effing now.
Well, we have Jeffrey Butzer here. And so, Jeffrey, I want you to tap into that positivity and give us a pep talk. Like, what is it?
Yeah, please do. Yeah, great.
Like, what if we said to you, Jeffrey, we want to give up? This is too hard. Like, what would you?
I'm terrible at that.
I could have been a contender.
That's why he called me a negative. That's why he called me a negative Nancy.
No. That was completely a joke. No, we need you right now. Renee and I are on hard times, and we need you, brother. Go.
You guys can do it.
I don't believe you. No, we can't. We can't.
I believe, or don't. I mean, if you don't feel like doing it, don't do it. No, I'll give you a story. One time, this guy online, musician friend of ours, people go through these things, especially when they're younger and you need some attention. And he was like, I think I'm going to quit music. And then all these people were commenting like, don't quit music. And then I wrote to him and I was like, Well, if you're not liking it, I quit too. Because I mean, if you don't like doing it,
exactly. Yeah, that's
if
right.
you're having
Well,
those, I was like, if you're just doing music because you want people to like it, then don't do music. Do music because it's fun. Like I don't do music because I
that's
think
great.
I don't do it because I think people will like it. I don't know what else to do, and so like I sit over there in my little studio thing, and then people say that they don't care about audiences. That's not true. I care if when I'm done that somebody will listen to it, but when I'm making it, as long as I like it, I made a 35-minute long song that was one album, and I don't know that anyone's heard it all the way through. Except for
I
me.
loved it, but I only thought it was 28 minutes. I loved it, but I only thought it was 28 minutes.
Yeah, it's 34, but my wife said it felt like 41.
Your wife was like, when is this thing over? How long is this going to take? Well, it's funny because I've said this before on the show, and it is true. And I actually was saying this to our friend Shannon Mulvaney the other night. Shout out to Shannon, who I absolutely adore, a legend playing with Magnapop, and then also Anna Kramer, the Easy Now. But I've said this since day one when I first started playing, and I thought I was finding a bit of an audience. Is if someone comes up to me after a show that's not a friend of mine or a friend of a friend of mine and says they loved it, my job is done. One person that I didn't know loved it. I'm so happy.
I remember that time when we were playing in Denton, and I would open up playing solo, and this guy came up to me and he said, "Hey, that was pretty cool." And I was really tired. I said, "Oh, thanks." He goes, "Maybe work on your plan and don't try so hard with your jokes." And I just stood there, like thinking about it because I was really tired. I was like, I don't know if there's even a compliment in there.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Well, that was Denton, Texas, and from you remember that night, we all almost got beat up and put.
Yeah, we almost got killed.
Yeah, we almost got killed. That was in Denton, Texas. Yeah,
outside of a snack cake factory. Remember?
What happened?
That's right. Yeah,
we were outside of a snack cake factory. I can't tell the story on the air, but we were outside. We almost got murdered. It's just a private thing, but we almost got murdered outside of a snack cake place. But
I'm so sorry, but I'm just shocked. I'm not laughing because
laughing
because I'm shocked. I'm like,
it happens. We really did. I mean, let's just say when all 4 tires of your van get slashed and someone goes, "Oh, that's so weird," and I go, "That's not an accident. People want us dead." One night in Austin, I was playing a Replacements cover. And love that band. And this guy came up to me. I'm Austin, Texas, and he goes, "Yo, was that Replacements you were doing earlier?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Replace it." I was like, I'm mad. I was like, you people are brutal. This world is brutal. It's but but that's the cool thing. Jeffrey's building us up. Claire's swimming in the ocean, writing another trip hop album. Next week we're hanging out with CJ Peters and Pan Oria. Renee, you rule. Did you have a good birthday, Renee?
I had the best birthday, and let me ask Jeffrey this question. Jeffrey, do you do your birthday up like really big, or do you?
Yeah.
You do? You're a birthday person? Okay.
I like birthdays.
Well, you do? Well, I mean, not everybody does.
I don't really know. So I said something the other day. I was like, I don't do my birthday up big, and then my friend Holly Lang goes, "You have a party at the Star Bar every year." I go, that has nothing to do with me. It's me and Eric Lee, and all the money goes to charity. I go, I wish sometimes I was at home, stroking it, watching,
FCC.
Yeah, man. We're trying to be positive. I go, this is not about, it's not about me. It's about, just giving back, I go, I hope after I'm long dead and gone, they still have the birthday party and give to charities, I go, but for me, I'm ordering Chinese food, hanging out, watching, NYPD Blues.
Tom, I'll bring you guys back down. Tom was born on the same day my dad died. That's pretty interesting, right?
Oh my gosh!
So April Fool's Day. My wife didn't believe me.
I don't know that.
Yeah, my wife didn't believe me. She thought I was like April Foolsing her. We were just friends back then. Before I forget though, I'm sorry to backtrack, but when we were talking about our tour again, every time we talk about it, I have a million stories. And I love when Tom's crew and I'm part of it. I think we try to lift each other up. And I remember like I would say something that I thought was funny, and Mike Sheena, I remember one night was like, "You should say that on stage as soon as you get out there." And I was like, "Okay." And so I walked out. I was like, "Hey, Austin, Texas, I was told you have really attractive homeless people. Boy, was I misinformed." And because I met this really ugly homeless person, and I said that to Sheena. I was like, "Man, I thought they had attractive homeless people here." Guess not. And Sheena would do that every night. Be like, "You should say that on stage," and I would always listen to him. And people would boo and hiss at me, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah. So what's the lesson learned? Do not listen to Sheena.
Well, Renee, I don't know if you've ever heard the Chinese food thing either about Tom. Is whenever, for some reason, whenever I think about you, I just think of that time we were. It was Austin. No, it was what's that other city where Fitzgerald's is? Houston. We were playing in Houston, and Tom was talking about Chinese food as he often does. And I think I said something about a Chinese friend on stage, and nothing derogatory. We just were talking on stage, but me and Tom are standing outside, patting each other on the back. "You did a really good job." "No, you did a really good job." And this man we didn't know walked up to me and he said, "Tom, you're a great front man. Westin Motel's an incredible band. Jeffrey, great solo set, great opener to the night." We said, "Thank you." He goes, "One question. Why do you guys talk about Chinese people so much?" Tom, without missing a beat, leaned in. He goes, "Because they're awesome."
They are awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's really funny.
We didn't say anything bad. Tom was just like, "We're gonna have some Chinese food later."
And the way my brain operates, because I have a little insanity going on, is I'm already making notes for hopefully the end of this week. I'm gonna order Chinese food because I haven't had it in a week.
I want Chinese food
I'm
now.
super excited about this week, spending a lot of money and getting some different fried rices. And this is how we're gonna end the show: crab rangoon, some good, vegetable rolls, some egg rolls. If you guys are coming over, some of you don't eat meat, we can get some tofu. But if you like seafood, we get shrimp fried rice. But if you like meat, we can get some Mongolian beef, and most importantly, we get some Kung Pao chicken.
Yeah, it's just funny.
So everybody, please check out this new record with Jeffrey and Claire. It's absolutely amazing. And I do not just say, well, I mean, I really don't just say this. I guess we're just lucky, Renee. We have really talented friends.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's so wonderful. And Jeffrey, you're absolutely slaying it. And, you're really doing such a cool thing with Claire as well. Because by the way, she's going to surpass all of us and be slaying it. We're going to be like, okay, can we hang out with Claire? You know, but you said something. You said something the other day when we were on a call, and Renee knows, and you know, I hate being on the phone. It brings me anxiety. But once in a while, you got to do it, and you got to catch up. So we're talking about this interview, and we're talking about things, and we're talking about these little bit of careers that we have as musicians. And you're like, it stinks. You know, it's rough. You know, you want to do this, you want to do that. And then, but the cool thing is look at all the cool shit you're doing. Look at all the cool stuff we're doing. Look at me and Renee talking right now. And the reality is you hung out and ate dinner with the Pixies tonight, one of your favorite bands since you're a kid, and you're taking them tomorrow night, taking your kids to see them tomorrow night. And it's like, same here. The other night, I'm hanging out with some musicians and artists that I look up to so much that are no longer dear friends. They're dear friends. I'm fans of them, and they're peers of mine at this Mark Rebo show. And I guess what I'm trying to say, and what you said much better than me with your, you said it eloquently. It's like, we're really lucky. Look at all the cool stuff we get to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I was saying is like, it'd be fun to play at the Fox sold out or something every time we played. But also, we don't answer to anybody. If you want to do a country western album, you and Brent, you do it.
That's right.
If you want to put out a book of poetry,
there's a lot of stuff happening, and I got to give a shout out to my brother, who I've reconnected with again, Will Lawless, who is such a legendary artist in Atlanta. Oh my goodness, and the stuff he's done for like Stacey Abrams and for independent thinkers and freedom fighters, and his fourth location of iDrum. Renee, I don't know if you know much about the iDrums, but they are just awesome art gallery / churches, basically, / music forums.
Wow.
It
Yeah,
has an old piano, and it looks like an old museum / church, and it's wooden. And I encourage everyone to go there. I know you went to a show there the other day. I started waiting for UFOs was there 2 weeks ago, and I was down in the dumps, and they inspired me. And my brother Roy's me so proud of me for going over. I know
Yep.
Renee has so much to do. Thank you,
Oh,
Jeffrey,
yeah,
for
well,
sharing your time and your music with us, and we will pay it forward and share it with our viewers.
thank you.
Absolutely.
And yeah, props to Claire. She's the one who got this record started. I just ended up getting to be on it and helped her finish it. Thanks, Tom.
Cheers, guys. See you guys.